Hi everyone, so today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Miniart. This is a 124 scale kit and it copies German traffic tractor, so it's a D8532 from 1950s. As you can see, it's a modification 1950s, and of course we have a commercial sample here, so it means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review. And this should be quite an interesting thing to assemble, because in 124 scale it's something different from all those supercars and classic vehicles we are used to seeing in this scale, and that's why I decided to take a closer look. And of course we have a commercial sample here, so it means this kit 24007 is the final shape of this release, and you'll get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review. So first of all, I have to note the box art. It is quite simple. I can see that Miniart adopted, let's say, a bit more clean styling for the 124 scale releases, and as far as I remember, the same way will be used for 148 scale releases once they come out. And you can see that the box size is typical, so here is comparison with my hand. We have this tractor from the rear. On the side you will find also some information about the manufacturer safety advices, and of course various barcodes and QR codes, while on the opposite side we can see the small note about cartograph. So cartograph was actually printing the decals for this kit, and we have 4 marking options. As you can see, they're quite colorful, and we will talk about them once we will be checking the assembly manual, because usually they are supplied there as a marking guide. So this is a top opening box, and here is what we have inside. So everything is packed into one plastic bag, as you can see, and of course on the bottom we have the assembly manual. So I'm going to cut through this plastic bag and we will take a closer look together. And in the meantime, I can also remind you that we reviewed the previous version of this tractor as well. So if you're interested in a military version of this tractor, then definitely check it, because it was also quite an interesting release. And again, in 124 scale, it should be a really cool thing to assemble, especially if you plan to combine it with some car model, let's say. So now just give me a second, I'm trying to remove everything from this sealed plastic bag. And then we have one more sealed plastic bag with the decals and clear parts. I guess we should cut through it as well, so that we can check what is actually supplied here. I mean, obviously we know what is supplied, but it's interesting to take a closer look. So first of all, let's take a look at the clear sprue. For this we'll have to zoom in as much as we can. And this is a sprue CA, so here we have all the clear parts for the kit, and I have to say that the molding quality is really good. The only thing you have to remember is that masks are not included here. It's a typical thing for Miniart, so that's why you will have to cut the stickers by your own. And I think it's really important for the headlamps, because this is quite prominent feature of this tractor, so definitely spend some time trying to properly mask it. And then we continue with decals. So again, I will remind you that they are printed in cartographs. That's why we have a really nice printing quality here. So now camera will focus and you can see what I'm talking about. I do not see, well, here are some dials, but not that many of the interior decals. But again, as I said, the cartograph decals are quite fine in the application, so I don't think you'll have any issues whatsoever. And next we continue with the narrow sprue. So this is the sprue CH. Here we have wheel parts. As you saw, they are absolutely identical. That's why I left only one on the table. And here I think we should zoom in again so that you can see what we actually get in here. So the wheel design here is quite smart, because the whole wheel, both the rear and the front, they will be assembled out of plastic parts, so there is no rubber involved. And this is really cool because it will help you with the more, I would say, convincing appearance, as well as the ease of the painting and weathering. And by the way, if I flip it over here, you can check what we have from the opposite side. There are also some guiding elements, as you can see. Okay, next we continue with another narrow sprue. This is a sprue D. Here we start with some parts for the tractor bonnet, as far as you can see, also some seats. And again, everything looks fine. As you can see here, we have the air intake molded as a single piece part. If I flip it over here, you can take a look from the opposite side. I think it is actually exhaust, it's not an air intake, but feel free to correct me because I think we have to check the assembly manual in order to understand. Next, we have the sprue C. So here we have more of the plastic wheels, and these are the front wheels. And here we have quite a smart design again. Why? Because these wheels, as you can see, it's a matter of combining all of these sections together, and we also have the tire replicated with help of these parts. So really cool solution. Just be sure to properly glue it and not to mess the tire, but I think it's not a difficult task, so just pay attention and you will be good to go. But as you could have noticed here, we have the, if camera will focus, yeah, now you should be able to see that we have some details on the tire walls. And this is something what you not that often expect on the plastic kit. And as for the rear wheels, here you can see that we have the central section molded as a single piece part. And as you can see, it's again the matter of installation from both sides, the circular parts which we saw before, and you'll be good to go. Okay, next we continue with parts on the sprue F, which are specific for this version, because here we have the roof panel and also the front windscreen, as well as the rear tail part. And if I flip it over, as you can see, the roof is nicely detailed inside, so there are no pin marks. This is really cool. And as for the front frame or windscreen frame, as you can see, it is molded without the clear part, so that might be actually handy because you can insert the clear parts inside, and that would be pretty much all you need to do, so maybe you won't have to use masks in this area. Next, we continue with various fairings. So these are wheel fairings for the rear and front. As you can see, they are molded as a single piece parts, and this should make it easier to install these parts. And overall design, I like it. I mean, I don't have anything to complain about here. Note that the front mask for the headlamps is molded together with the headlamp bodies, so you have to be careful not to break them off, let's put it this way. And next, we continue with the sprue E. So here we have more parts for the frontal section of the tractor. These are actually bonnet panels. This is the floor for the cabin, and also some wheel axles here and there. So just like the 135 scale release of this tractor, this one also features a lot of parts for the drivetrain, so that's why I'm saying that it might be a really good opportunity to play with some weathering on the bigger parts, especially if you're not a fan of the 135 scale. Next, we continue with more parts for the rear wheels. So nothing special, but they also look fine. It's the same sprue as you might have noticed. And one more is the sprue A. So this one is the biggest in the kit, and you can see that it is actually, let's say, carrying the universal parts, and they are used for the drivetrain of the tractor, also for the front bonnet. And again, some of the bonnet parts, they will not be used, but for example here we have the steering wheel, which will have to be used. And if we flip it over, here inside you can see also some guiding elements which will help you to combine all of the parts together, so it's not like the, let's say, free form. There are actually some let's say engineering solutions which will help you to speed up the assembly process. And next we have the assembly manual. So this one is printed in form of small brochure, as you can see. So now I have to close the lenses a bit, and we have a surprisingly small brochure, because usually Miniart prints it on A4 format, but here you can see that we have the parts map, we also have the colors chart, and then assembly process starts with the drivetrain. And next we continue with more parts being installed onto this, let's say, chassis. And as you can see, it will be just like the main frame, let's say, which will be holding all other elements, including the front cab floor. As you can see here, the bonnet. And by the way, the engine is not that visible because it's not included here. The whole bonnet will be closed. And I think some modders will be happy to know this because they prefer to focus on the external features instead of trying to open something inside. So that's also a valid, I would say, take on such details. Next we continue with the wheel fenders, and also I can see the wheel assembly here, so that's exactly what I was talking about. As you can see, the front wheels and the rear wheels, they are being combined out of separate plastic sections, and the next pages actually show us the front mask assembly. Here we assemble the wheels, and then we continue with the windscreen, and then on the last steps we actually install the roof. So as you remember, it was molded as a single piece part, so it's just a matter of aligning all of these struts together. Here we have the first marking option, that's the tractor in blue, next one is in gray, another one in green, and here we continue with the red one. And note that all of them are depicted as heavily weathered, so it's a small hint that you don't build the fresh of the factory tractor and try to replicate slightly used tractor, which will be more interesting in appearance in comparison with the factory fresh model. So, of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about this release. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. And if you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.